The spaceport of Ravix Prime was always loud and full of strange beings, aliens from 100 planets. Smugglers, soldiers, traders, all moving fast and ignoring others. No one cared about anyone. But today, something was different. A tall alien woman stood near the entrance gate. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes glowing like soft light. She looked strong once, but now, she looked broken. Her clothes were dusty, torn. Her lips were dry. She held a small hologram in her hand, showed a smiling little girl with the same glowing eyes. "Please," the woman whispered, looking at every person who passed. "Please, someone help me." Nobody stopped. Nobody cared. She was just another beggar in the dirty port. But then, someone did stop. A human man sat on a broken metal bench nearby. His clothes were old and dirty. His hair was messy. A bottle of cheap alcohol sat next to him. He looked like trash, as someone who had lost everything. His name was Rain Carter. Once a respected commander in the Earth Defense Fleet. Now, just a shadow. The woman walked toward him, her eyes filled with pain and hope. "You are human, yes?" she asked in a soft voice. Rain looked up slowly. "What's left of me?" She knelt down in front of him, hands shaking. "My daughter is missing. She was taken. I have searched every planet, every station. No one will help me, but you." "I think you can," Rain frowned. "Why me?" The woman looked straight into his eyes. "Because humans don't fear death like others. And because you have nothing to lose." Rain chuckled, but it was bitter. "You got that right. I don't have money," the woman said, lowering her voice. "But I'll give you something else. My body. Every part of me. I will belong to you. If you find my daughter." Rain stared at her. He didn't blink. He should have laughed, or walked away, or asked for proof. But he saw something in her eyes, not lust, not a trick, just pain. Real, deep pain. "What's her name?" Rain asked. The woman smiled, just a little. "Lyra. She is 9 years old. She disappeared 2 months ago from Thaxton 7, a colony near the Outer Rings." Rain leaned back. Thaxton 7. That place was known for black market traders and criminals. "Who would take a child there?" he asked. "I don't know. I was called away for duty. When I returned, she was gone. No trace, no message. Just silence." Rain took the hologram from her hand and looked at the little girl's face. She had the same glowing eyes as her mother, but something else too. A strange mark on her neck. "What's this?" he pointed. The woman looked nervous. "It's nothing. A birthmark." Rain didn't believe her, but he didn't push. He stood up slowly and picked up his coat. "I'll find her." The woman looked surprised. "You will?" Rain nodded. "Not for your body. I've had enough of pain. But I don't like seeing people lose their kids. I know what that feels like." She opened her mouth to ask, but Rain was already walking away. Hours later, Rain sat in a small, dark ship he borrowed from an old friend. The engines were old, but strong. He stared at the hologram again. Something about this job felt off. He had done missions before, hard ones, but this one felt personal, even though he didn't know why. "Lyra," he whispered, "what's so special about you?" He connected to the galactic network and searched reports from Thaxton 7. There were rumors, stories of a child who caused strange power surges, machines breaking without warning, lights exploding, then silence. Rain's gut twisted. This wasn't just a missing girl. As he prepared to jump into hyperspace, his screen flashed. A message from an unknown source. "Turn back, human. That girl doesn't belong to her. This is bigger than you think." Rain leaned back, heart beating faster. He had just accepted a job from a crying mother. But now, it looked like he had stepped into a war. He smirked. "Too late," he said to no one. "I already said yes." And with that, his ship vanished into the stars. The air on Thaxton 7 was thick with smoke and secrets. Neon lights flickered across broken buildings, and the streets were crawling with danger. Thaxton 7 wasn't a place for children, or heroes, or truth. It was where things disappeared, people, names, memories. And that's exactly why Commander Rain Carter came. He stepped off his ship with quiet footsteps, coat flowing behind him like a shadow. His eyes scanned the dirty alleyways, the flickering signboards, and the faces that turned away when they saw a human. Humans were rare here, unwelcome, weak. But Rain didn't care. He had a job to do. He entered a dark tavern called the Rusted Fang. Inside, creatures of all kinds sat drinking glowing liquids, whispering in alien tongues. Rain walked up to the bar and dropped a small silver coin. I'm looking for someone, he said. The bartender, a fat reptilian creature with 4 eyes, didn't look impressed. Everyone is. Rain leaned in. A girl, 9 years old, glowing eyes. Taken 2 months ago. The bartender laughed. You think I keep track of lost little girls? Rain pulled out a second coin, this one shaped like a gear, a military token. The bartender's laugh stopped. Try the tunnels under Dock 14, the bartender said quickly. There was something. A child. With power. But you didn't hear that from me. Rain nodded and left. The tunnels beneath Dock 14 smelled like oil and blood. Darkness crawled over the walls. Strange sounds, echoed metal creaks, soft whispers, something dripping. Rain walked carefully, gun ready. Suddenly, he heard her voice, a child's voice, soft singing. He followed it, heart beating faster. Around a corner, he saw a small room filled with wires, broken screens, and a glowing cage. And inside, a body. But it wasn't Lyra, it was another child dead, burned, but with the same glowing eyes. Rain's jaw clenched. What is this place? He knelt beside the cage and saw something carved into the wall in blood. She broke the system. They want her back. Before he could react, he heard footsteps dart fast. Rain stood up as 3 alien hunters entered, weapons drawn. One hissed, "Human doesn't belong here." Rain raised his gun. "Neither do you." The fight was fast, brutal. Rain moved like lightning, dodging and firing. 2 hunters fell. The third tried to run, but Rain grabbed him and slammed him against the wall. "Tell me about the girl," Rain shouted. The alien spat blood. "She's not just a girl, she's a key. She can destroy systems, whole networks." She wasn't taken, she was activated. Rain's eyes narrowed. "By who?" The alien laughed weakly. "Her mother, she built her. And now, everyone wants her." With one final breath, the alien died. Later, back in his ship, Rain sat alone. He looked again at the hologram of Lyra. This time, he noticed something new. Her eyes, those glowing eyes, were not natural. They were designed, not missing. Rain whispered, "Hunter." He pulled up classified files from an old Earth military server. He typed, "Project Hybrid Child Access Denied." He hacked again. Access granted. And there it was. A secret project, shut down years ago. Human DNA, mixed with alien tech to create children with living code minds. Not weapons, not soldiers. Living viruses. Only one subject survived. Named Lyra. Rain leaned back, shocked. The girl wasn't just a daughter. She was a creation, a weapon, a secret too big for any one planet. And her mother. Rain now doubted everything. He stared out at the stars, voice low. What the hell have I stepped into? He didn't know it yet, but Lyra was watching him, from somewhere far away. It started with a blackout. Not a normal one. Not just lights going off. Entire ships in orbit, above Xeno 4, suddenly lost power. Systems shut down. Engines froze. Communications went silent. In a command ship above the planet, a Threxian officer screamed, "We've lost everything." And then, just for a second, a girl's voice echoed through the speaker. Soft.com. "Don't find me." And everything exploded into light. Rain Carter didn't see the explosion. He was already on the surface of Xeno 4, walking through a long-abandoned science station. Dust covered the floors, and silence filled every room. This was where his search had led him, his 3rd planet in 5 days. He followed the trail from Thaxon 7 to here, chasing reports of strange energy surges. A merchant on the last planet had whispered, "They say a child passed through here, but not alone." Lights broke, walls cracked, and machines bent like soft metal. Now, inside this ghost lab, Rain felt it. The air was heavy. Wrong. He entered the main control room and saw burned machines, shattered screens, and melted weapons. And on one wall, another message, not written, burned in. "I didn't want to hurt them." Rain stared, breathing slow. She was here. He moved deeper into the lab and found a security terminal still working, powered by an old backup cell. He tapped into the system. Security log. 4 days ago, footage loaded. He watched the video. Lyra walked into the lab slowly. Her hands were shaking. She looked scared. 2 alien guards pointed guns at her. One fired. The bullet froze in mid-air. Lyra didn't move. Her eyes glowed brighter. And suddenly, the lights shattered. Metal cracked. The guards screamed as their weapons melted in their hands. She didn't touch anything. She just looked at them, and they fell. Not dead, but empty. Rayn stopped the video. "This kid is dangerous. he whispered, and scared. But one question burned in his mind. Who is controlling her? Outside the lab, a tall shadow moved silently, watching, waiting. The alien woman Lyra's so-called mother stood on a cliff above the station, a strange device in her hand. It blinked with green lights. She's not far now, she said, to someone through a communicator. Send the hunters. We need her alive. The human is becoming a problem. Meanwhile, Rain followed one last signal. Inside the station, a hidden door. He opened it and entered a small, dark room. Inside was a nest not of animals, but machines. Wires wrapped around the walls like vines. Strange alien symbols glowed on the ceiling. In the center, a single small jacket lay folded, a child's jacket. He picked it up and saw something stitched inside. Property of Project Lyra. Class, Tier 0 hybrid clearance. Omega only. Rain's blood went cold. Tier -0. That meant she wasn't just special. She was the first and possibly the most powerful. He turned to leave, but the door slammed shut. Then the machines around him, powered on by themselves. Screens lit up. Static turned into whispers. Then a voice came through. You're not here to hurt me, are you? It was Lyra. Rain looked around. Lyra, where are you? I'm in the wires, she said. In the system. I see everything. Rain spoke gently. I'm not here to hurt you. Your mother asked me to find you. There was silence. Then, she's not my mother. Outside, a new ship landed near the lab. 6 alien hunters stepped out. Armored, ready to kill. Inside, Rain didn't know it yet, but they were closing in. Lyra's voice whispered one last time. I'm not safe. They will use me to end your kind. You need to choose, Rain. Them, or me. The power went out. The message was clear. She's not my mother. Those words echoed in Rain's mind as he flew through deep space, leaving Xeno behind. His ship was damaged, the engine groaning. Warning lights blinking red, but he couldn't stop. Not now. He had seen too much. The girl, Lyra, was more than a child, more than human. She could enter machines, break systems, and control tech just by thinking. And if what she said was true, then the woman who hired him was lying from the very beginning. Rain landed on the edge of Nova Centra, the capital of the Andarian Empire, a cold, polished world where power ruled, and secrets were buried deep. He didn't go through the main gates. Instead, he moved through back alleys, dodging patrols, until he reached an old contact mech, an information thief. Rain dropped a chip on the table. Trace this frequency. It's from a tracker hidden in the woman's cloak. Mech blinked. You spying on your client now? She lied. Mech shrugged and worked fast. Within minutes, a hologram appeared, showing a tower in Sector 9, Imperial Command Base. Rain stared. Why would a grieving mother go there? Mech raised an eyebrow. That's not just any base. That's where they hold Galactic Council meetings. Only generals and rulers go in. Rain stood up. His hands were shaking, but not from fear, from rage. She's no mother. She's a commander. Inside the tower, the alien woman stood tall. No tears, no weakness. She wore full military armor now. Her glowing blue skin looked colder. Her voice, sharp and commanding. Begin Phase 2, she said to her officers. The hybrid child has been located. We must retrieve Herbie, for she bonds with that human. One officer asked, what about the bounty hunter you sent? She smiled slightly. He served his purpose. Rain hacked the base. It wasn't easy, but he had done worse. Inside the tower's data system, he found the files. Project Lyra. Weaponization Trial Number 01. Subject created. Hybrid class genetic source. Human father unknown, plus modified Andarian tech. Handler. General Sale Vara handler. Not mother. Not even guardian. Rain's heart sank. He remembered the way she cried. The way she whispered, please, find my daughter. All of it. Fake. She created Lyra, in a lab. Raised her not with love, but with rules. And when the girl showed emotion kindness, empathy, she was labeled as unstable and locked away. Clenched his fists. He had been used not to rescue, but to hunt. Suddenly, alarms blared through the tower. The system detected Rain. Security bots activated. Rain didn't wait. He ran, fought, and blasted his way out, just barely escaping with a burned jacket and a broken heart. He returned to his ship, bloody and angry. He opened the comms and recorded a message. Lyra, if you can hear me, I know the truth now. She's not your mother. She never was. You're not a weapon to me. You're a child, a person. and I'm coming to find you before they do. Hang on. He hit SEND and jumped into hyperspace. Far across the stars. In a small cave under the ruins of a forgotten moon, Lyra heard the message play through a broken comm device. She didn't smile, but her eyes stopped glowing. She whispered, "You came anyway." Then, she turned on, her face changed. Because someone else was standing behind her. The moon was dead. No lights, no cities, no sounds exed. Wind whispering through broken stones. This place had once been a mining colony. Now it was just ruins and ghosts. Rain's ship landed quietly, like a shadow touching dust. He stepped out slowly, boots crunching on cracked ground. The only signal on this moon was weak, flickering coming from deep below. Lyra. She was hiding here. Rain didn't call her name. He knew better. She was scared, powerful, and not alone. He moved through tunnels lit only by his small wrist light, watching walls carved with strange markings, numbers, code fragments, messages scratched by a child's hand. "Don't let them find me. I didn't mean to break it. I want to be free." Then he heard it. Not a sound, a feeling. His cum blinked and Lyra's voice echoed softly in his ear. "Rain, is that you?" He stopped. "Yeah, me, I'm here." Silence. "Then I didn't think you'd come." Rain smiled. "I told you, I don't leave people behind." She stepped out of the shadows. Smaller than he remembered. Pale skin, thin arms. Her eyes glowed softly, but not with rage, with fear. Rain knelt down. "Hey." Lyra didn't move. "They'll hurt you if you stay." "I've been hurt before," he said. "But I'm not leaving without you." She looked at him for a long time, then finally took a step forward. Rain held out his hand. She reached for it, and then the ground shook. Far above them, a ship broke through the moon's thin clouds. Big, fast, armed, the Empire had arrived. Rain grabbed Lyra's hand and ran. Alarms echoed through the cave system. Explosions shook the rocks. Troops were dropping in. Lyra panicked. Her power sparked. Lights flickered. Walls trembled. "Stay with me," Rain shouted. "I can't control it." "Yes, you can," he said. "You're stronger than you think." She screamed and a wall of energy burst out, throwing soldiers back. Rain didn't stop. He pulled her through smoke and fire until they reached the surface. His ship was already under fire. "We won't make it," Lyra cried. "Yes," Rain said, lifting her up. "We will." He ran through bullets and lasers, shielding her with his own body. He jumped into the pilot seat, slammed the hatch closed, and powered up. The ship shook hard. 2 Empire warships blocked the sky. Rain stared at the controls. "I need one shot. Just one." Lyra placed her hand on the panel. Suddenly, the ship lit up. Systems roared. Shields repaired. Engines glowed brighter than ever before. "What did you do?" he asked. "I talked to it," she said. "It wants to help us." Rain grinned. "You're full of surprises, kid." And with that the ship blasted off, punching through the blockade like a star on fire. Inside the warship above, General Salvara watched the escape on her screen. Her face was calm, but her eyes were cold. "Prepare the next wave," she said. "But, General, they're heading for human territory." "Then we burn that territory down," she replied. "She was built for us. And if the human won't give her back, we'll take them both." In deep space, Rain finally let go of the controls. Breathing heavy, arms shaking, Lyra sat beside him, hugging her knees. "I'm sorry," she said. "For what?" he asked. "For being this." Rain looked at her. "You're not a thing. You're not a weapon. You're a person. You get to choose what you become." She looked at him. "Will they ever stop chasing us?" Rain looked at the stars ahead. "No, but I've got a few tricks left." There was no sky. Only stars, and silence. Rain's ship floated near the edge of the Terra Void. A dead zone in space where signals couldn't travel, and no Empire dared to follow. It was quiet, cold and hidden. It was the safest place he could find. But safety never lasts long. Inside the ship, Lyra sat on the floor, wires spread around her like a nest. Her eyes were closed. She wasn't sleeping. She was searching. Rain watched from a distance. "What are you looking for?" he asked. She opened her eyes. "Proof of what?" "That I'm real. That I'm not just something they built. I want to know who I really am." Rain sat beside her. "You're Lyra. That's enough for me." She gave a small smile. "It's not enough for the galaxy." She touched the console. Her power flowed into it. And then, a hidden file appeared, buried deep in the data. Core 1, even Rain had missed. They opened it. It was a recording, a meeting room, military uniforms, a table. At the head General Salvara, Lyra's creator. The hybrid child is too unstable, the general said. She's asking questions. She shows empathy. This is not what she was built for. Another voice spoke, a scientist. But she's learning. She dreams. She creates. Maybe she's more than... No, Salvara cut in. She is not a person. She is property. Rain clenched his jaw. Lyra whispered, "They never loved me." He looked at her, serious. "That's where they failed. They built you with power, but they forgot something." She looked at him, curious. "What?" Rain placed his hand over his heart. Suddenly, alarms rang. They had been found. Again. Empire ships dropped out of warp, 6 of them, surrounding the void, jamming the exits. No way out. Rain stood. "We don't run this time." Lyra looked up. "You want to fight?" "No," he said. "We tell the truth." Rain opened a broadcast channel. A wide beam signal opened to all frequencies, across all systems. He sent the video, the secret files, the project data, the proof, and then he spoke, calm and clear. "My name is Commander Rain Carter. I served Earth. I bled for this galaxy. And I've seen what the Empire hides. This girl Lyra is not a weapon. She's a child, a creation, a person. She is proof that they fear one thing more than war. Hope, to every human out there. Every species treated like trash. Remember this. They wanted to erase her, because she was too human. Because she felt, and because she was free. We're not running anymore." The Empire tried to block the signal. But it was too late. Rain had linked the ship's system with Lyra's power. She sent the message through every connected network, every corner of space, every station, where humans worked as slaves, or fought in secret wars, or lived forgotten. For the first time in years, the galaxy listened. In secret colonies, humans watched in silence. In mining camps, they whispered her name. In resistance cells, they raised their heads. A child, a living machine, protected by a human no one remembered. Back on the ship, Rain looked at Lyra. She was glowing again. But not from power. From something else. She said, "They'll come harder now." Rain nodded. "Let them far away." General Salvara stood in her war room, fists clenched, screens flashing. Her officer said, "The human exposed everything." She said nothing. "Then send the fleet. I want them both alive." The war for truth had begun. End of part 6. Would you like me to move directly into part 7? The return. The final chapter. Or would you like a cinematic script version or voiceover thumbnail idea first for this part? You said, start with part 7. Unique more ChatGPT said. Absolutely. Here's part 7. The return. The final chapter of your 7-part HFY sci-fi story. And it begins with a powerful, emotional, and cinematic moment. The focus is on resolution, sacrifice, truth, and what makes humans different. Written in third person, with simple English and high emotional stakes. Part 7. The return title. One human brings her back. And starts a revolution word count. Approximately 800. It was raining fire. Not from the sky but from the Empire's fleet. Falling like burning metal across the quiet blue world of Velian 3. This was where it would end. Rain stood at the edge of the city square, his ship broken behind him, smoke rising in the distance. Lyra stood beside him, calm, glowing, scared but standing tall. They had nowhere left to run. And yet, they had never stood taller. Hours before, they had received a message. Not from an enemy, but from a voice they didn't expect. A human worker, speaking from a mining colony. "Come to Velian 3. We've seen your message. We're ready." They came, and others followed. Small ships, civilian transports, tiny human vessels that weren't meant for war. But they came. Because for the first time in 100 years, someone had stood up. A human who wasn't afraid. And a child who wasn't born to be a slave. Now, as warships surrounded the city, General Salvara walked through the smoke hall. Dressed in armor, her eyes fixed on Lyra. "Give her to me," she said to Rain. Rain stood firm. "No, she's ours," Salvara said. "We made her. You built her," Rain replied. "But you never earned her." Lyra stepped forward. "You said I was a tool." "You are," Salvara hissed. "No," Lyra said quietly. "I'm a voice." She raised her hand, not in anger, but in light. The power flowed from her, not as destruction, but as a signal. It passed through weapons, ships, machines. And something strange happened. The weapons shut down. Not because of damage, but because the systems chose to stop. Lyra didn't control them, she reached them. For the first time, her gift wasn't used to break things. It was used to wake them up. Across the battlefield, soldiers dropped their weapons. Not all, but many. Enough. The humans who had lived in fear for generations on backwater planets and cold space stations stepped forward. They weren't warriors, but they were done being silent. Sailvara raised a hidden weapon. She belongs to the Empire. Rain didn't flinch. Then the Empire is over. She fired. Rain moved without thinking, putting himself between Lyra and the blast. The energy hit his shoulder. He dropped to his knees. But he smiled through the pain. I told you, he whispered to her. I don't leave people behind. Lyra screamed not from fear, but from truth. Her body lit up in white blue light. But this time, it didn't destroy. It healed. Rain's wounds closed. The skies cleared. And every connected ship, every tech system, every drone, every satellite, flashed the same word on their screens. I choose who I am. Lyra had rewritten her own code. And in doing so, she rewrote the story of every person like her. Sailvara was captured not by Lyra, but by her own people, now afraid of what they'd become. The Empire didn't fall in fire. It fell in choice. And that was worse for them. Because now, they couldn't control the story. Later, on a quiet green hill, Rain sat beside Lyra, watching the sun rise over a free world. He looked at her. What now? Lyra smiled. Now, I just want to live. Rain nodded. Good. She looked at him. You never took what she offered. Her body. Rain laughed. I didn't want it. Why not? He looked at her with soft eyes. Because I already found something more valuable. She tilted her head. What? Rain stood up and walked toward the sunlight. You.